What's up, everybody? It's your girl Rosey Wisdom, and I'm back with another experience. I'm doing some protective braids, so don't worry about my hair, none of that. But long story short, I just wanted to share this one because it came to mind, and it is something that might be relatable to, or if not, it might be a lesson for somebody. But here we go. So, back in the beginning of my walk with Christ, I had a homegirl who was my homegirl for since I was 15. I met Christ at 23. Y'all do the math. So we was friends for that many years at that part. And the way Christ saved me, the way Christ entered me and saved me, I was excited. I was ready to, I was telling everybody, I found Christ. I found Jesus, But when I went to her, because we was like this, got a different energy from her. I ran up to her, gave her a hug. This was after a while of not seeing each other because things happened supernaturally between me and my kid's father. So I was like, Rockford, Chicago, back and forth for different reasons. And this particular time when I seen her, it was already after I've been drugged by my confidant, by my mutual homie. This was already after the spirit war me and my kid's father had. So things had taken place before I even seen her again. So with that being said, I do remember it was the 4th of July though. And I actually seen her because she had children by my brother. And with that being said, he hadn't seen his girls. So what we used to do, aka me, my mom, and things of that nature, my mom would love to come back to the city to see her friend, homegirl, Sandra. And we all would just make trips and make stops to our friends or peoples or whoever we want to see before we head out back home. So that's what we was up there for. But Q was with us and he wanted to see his girl. So when we slid on his girls, which was the nieces of my best friend at the time, she was standoffish. I ran up to her first off with open arms, and I literally said, "He who saved me can save you." When I was trying to hug her, she's like this, like almost as if it's a fight off, like no, like that. It was kind of strange because this was my ex going boom. We ain't never been like awkward like that. But so she was like, "No, you the devil, no." And I didn't understand that, but I gave her space at that very moment. And Q, she started fussing and yelling and talking to Q, and they continued what they was doing with what they had going on for their children. So I backed up, gave her space, left very confused, went back to the car, and just waited on my brother. So after my brother got done talking to her, we left. Made other rounds around the city to whoever, family, friends, whatever. Now moving forward, I tried earnestly to speak to her. Like, mind you, me and my brother, we live in Rockford, so it's times I would be around him and she'll call because I don't think I had a phone number or my phone wasn't staying on. We wasn't communicating. Let's put it like that. We just wasn't communicating. And I remember every time she would call my brother or my brother would call her, I'd catch them in a conversation. I'd be like, let me speak to it, And he would tell me she said she don't want to talk to me. So I tell her to put on speaker Or I tried so many numerous ways to communicate with her until I realized she just didn't want to, she wasn't rocking with me. Now, moving forward, this was also a time when, so time passed actually, like years passed. I'm living in Rockford. She's still in the city. And at this, I actually moved. So mind you, she avoided me, blocked me, ignored me, whatever you want to call it. It was zero communication from a person I knew for XYZ years. When I found Christ, that's when she changed. So I had an opportunity to, no, it was my other brother who was like, you and Rocky need to get back together. You know, y'all was best friends, and I don't know why y'all not talking or whatnot. And I was like, well, it ain't me. I tried to reach out to her multiple times, but my hand was left hanging. So, you know, my end of my voice was the only one spoken. So it's like, I'm over it. And he tried to do something, but long story short, we end up, when I moved to Indiana, sorry, so sorry. When I moved to Texas, at the city from, when I was staying in Rustic, we spoke through the DM. And then we called. So this is where things got hatched up, understood, or whatnot. So her whole reason to not talking to me during all those times I tried to talk to her was, she said my family blamed her for me getting drugged. And I said, why is that? And she said because they said that she was with Bikomi when he went to the store, and he came along without her. And then she was telling me she didn't come because she had something with her kids. She had an emergency with her kids. I had to do something at the crib. But my whole thing was, when did my family accuse you of anything? You know, and if they did, I didn't know. Why you never mentioned it? So she's saying an accusation my family put on her is what made her be distant against me. But what was odd about this call was this hour long, like we was on the phone for an hour, over an hour. What was odd about this call was that, you know, Rocky sounded like she had found Christ herself. Rocky sounded like she was turning her life around. She was telling me some things she'd been through and some things she didn't want to go back through or whatnot. She wasn't too intel about it, but she just mentioned whatever, some of her situations. And, you know, she sounded like someone I wanted to hear. Because at this point, I'm already mature through Christ. So it's like, you are who you are. You can be who you want to be. Because I am who I am, you know. So I've learned how to be slow to speak, but quick to listen. You know, that's the stage I'm at. So it's why she sounded like the beginning of me when I first met her. I knew it just didn't sound right. It just didn't sound like her. It sounded like she was trying to say everything I wanted her to hear because she knew that I was a godly woman. That's what it was. So, with that being said, also, before I became mature, I would be the one to always initiate Christ in conversations. At this time and phase, I'm at the point where I'm on chill. I speak when the Holy Spirit guides me to speak, you know. I'm not finna just try to pressure you or force you or just get on your nerves or talk your ear off. No. When it come out, where it come out is when it was meant. You know. So I wasn't talking about God with her on this conversation. I just legit wanted to see how she was doing for real. Like, what's up? But she was who I just mentioned. The one talking about God, the one that ain't God and this, that. So although this felt strange to me, you know, I didn't, I just stayed aware of it. Moving forward, we spoke for like over an hour, and we even had intentions to make plans for the kids to get back together. Like, I had a kid, she had a kid, I had a kid, she had a kid, I had a kid, she had a kid. So we both got kids, got children around the same age, and they cousins. So that's another fact. They cousins. So we was like, man, they cousins. They probably don't even remember each other or whatever. Ooh, off the bam. They need to, like, let's kick it so they could get to know each other again. I was like, yeah. So we actually made future plans, shall I say, at least. We made future plans, and a couple of months later, that's when I got the news that the father of her last child shot her in the back of the head and set her on fire. And so the future never came, and her life was ended short at such a young age. And that's the end of that story. But what I learned here is that I grew up in a community where everybody did the same thing. You was either smoking, drinking, partying, or smoking, drinking, partying, or having babies. And once I stopped those activities or stopped doing things that had me relate to a person anyway, or be in conversation, or be hanging out with a person or whatever. I hang out with this person because we smoke. I hang out with this person because I drink. I hang out with this person because we kicking, or you know what I'm saying? That's how it was back in my time, growing up on the block in Chicago. So it's all do music. I hang out with this person because we do songs, we rap, and things of that nature. So when you change, when you stop doing things that you once did with other people, you become an outsider. People frown upon you, you know. And I've learned that by me turning to Christ, I was able to see true colors of meaning around me. And I think the way my ex-best friend went out, she didn't have to go out like that. And it was on the news. But I cried for a minute, and then I stopped. Because it comes down to this. Her and my kid's father had relations. Now, I know men got a code. Back then, the bro code was don't mess with the sisters. If bro and bro friends, don't try to holler at his sister. That was broken in so many ways in one. So the bro code was never respected in my community. But the girl code, you know, I had a respect for her. So I wouldn't dare look at or want anything that she ever had. But it was opposite when it came from her, from me. My kid's father wasn't the only man she had a relationship with. She actually had a baby by another man who tried to have a relationship with me, but I shut him down quick. But found out later she's in deep with him. And that threw me off. Like, what happened to the code? So, you know, it's like, how can I cry for someone who was low-key an enemy of mine? She became an enemy of me, and I didn't even know she wanted what I had, and I didn't really have nothing. May she rest in peace. Yeah, but this is an experience of when you grow up and mature in Christ, how the people around you change. You never know the outcome.